Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Has rackets really changed that much in the last 30 years? We'll check that out in a second. Stay tuned. All right, guys, so how has rackets changed in 30 years? Has the material changed? No, still carbon graphite. Have they got fatter? Have they got skinnier? Have they got thicker? Have they got more powerful? Are they stiffer? Are they softer? Yeah, a little bit here. I mean, I think the main difference, though, as you can see, like I'm going to take, let's say, the most popular racket from approximately 30 years ago, nicknamed the skunk, the Wilson Hammer 6.2. This is the oversized 110, right? Like, what are the characteristics of this racket? Well, I mean, I can definitely feel that this thing is head heavy. Now, did you know, though, that hammer wasn't just a cool name? It was actually a technology. Now, the hammer system, as they called it up top, basically meant that it was head heavy, a la hammer. You know, hammer, nail. What did hammer really do for you, though? It made you a better player quicker. How, you ask? Well, because the weight is pretty much concentrated at the top, okay? So this is actually like a 10-ounce racket, but the concentration of the weight is at the top. So light overall, head heavy. But how did it make you good? Well, for most people, right, they go, you know, beginners especially, they kind of short their swing, kind of do this deal, right? When you make it head heavier, the racket actually just takes over for you, therefore helping you elongate your swing, because you can feel the weight and you just let it go. The weight kind of takes over, hits the ball, and helps to send it out of there, okay? So that was cutting edge 30 years ago. Now, fast forward 30 years later, we got clash with the flexible technology, and not as head heavy, but this particular one is a little more head heavy, but has that, which is going to feel stiff and powerful with a flex rating of 6.2, but that hammer technology actually adds more power. See something that's super flexible? Like, what's the main difference? Let's check it out, okay? I'm going to explain to you at the end, though, but I'm going to weigh, balance, and swing weight this just to show you what happened after 30 years. All right, so before I get going on this stuff, if you want to support the channel, Tennis Spin USA is the website. You want to support my coffee habit? Buy Me a Coffee is the network /Tennis Spin. Thank you in advance. All right, let's get going on this. So let's take a quick look at this one. Remember these old dampeners that flew out of your racket all the time? They weren't very fat. They were actually too skinny to really hang on. One good hit, these things fly off. Kind of a skinny W. All right, so. See, this thing is so head heavy that I actually have to balance it on the scale. Okay, is it touching anything? It's not. All right, what do we got here? 10 ounces strung on the dot. What does that equal to? 284. All right. Let's check out the Clash. Let's see, look, modern W. Modern W, fatter, a little harder to knock off. Let's see where this weighs out at. Oop. You see how it weighs out at the throat area now? 294, which is equal to what? 10.4. Okay. So let's balance it out. I think this is going to amaze you guys. We'll start with the hammer. Jesus. 375. Let's take a look at the Clash. $343. All right, let's swing weight them. All right, so at the RDC machine, checking out swing weight. $339. $320. All right, so let's head back and analyze. All right, so what's happened in 30 years? Material change? In these two, yes, because obviously we have some super secret material that's making this softer. But if this wasn't that way, like the rest of the rackets, you know, on the wall or in the market, it would kind of be just like this, because it's still carbon graphite. But would it be that head heavy? No, because that was the trend back here. Hammer system was 30 years ago. It probably lasted about 10 years. And Wilson was put on the map #1 for a long time. I want to say 20 years there, with the reins of being the #1 tennis racket company in the world. Now, but #1 then to #1 now. This isn't the #1 one, but the 100 is, but I'm kind of going apples to apples, oversized to oversized, okay? Because the 95 did very well in this too. And the 100 does very well here. So it's kind of the tale of 30 years later, okay? So that's why I'm going oversized to oversized. Check this out. 10 ounces strung on an oversized. 108, 10.4. Lighter here, okay? Looking at the balance, that's a big number, guys. We're talking Andy Murray head heaviness there. Compared to, this is kind of on the high side, but you know, normal for something that light, okay? So the trend is still light, but more heavy, heavier. But that is ridiculous, okay? Swing weight, that's definitely a big number. That's a pretty normal number for an oversize these days. So these two numbers basically tells us that it's head heavy. Weight is concentrated at the top. In the last 20 years, they've dialed the weight back down, right? We're still head heavy, but we're not head heavy. We're not head heavy, hammer heavy, right? I mean, when you swing this thing, you know, like the racket just kind of takes over. This one takes over, but not as aggressively as this one. I mean, would this work today? I think it would. I think if they brought hammer back, there would definitely be a customer for it. But I think they've definitely moved on, and lighter in the head, more balanced, a little heavier overall, you know, makes a whole lot of sense for where we're at today. Okay, so kind of this is a tale of 30 years later. What do you guys think? Should we bring hammer back? Can we bring hammer back? It's up to Wilson. Okay, thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.